We finally made it to the fourth and final boss fight for the current era in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, the Zeffo Tomb Guardians, and I want to talk in this video about how to beat them. The fight revolves around manipulating these armor stacks that they're going to have when they start the battle, and then they're going to be able to continue to get those stacks over and over again. So you really want to be careful about dealing with those armor stacks. So let's jump over to the Coliseum and I'll show you my strategy for this fight. So we'll jump into the featured info for the event for Zeffo Tomb Guardians, and I will say this is probably the one that I struggle with the most. If not, it's pretty close up there with the Pirate ATST. But let's look at Zeffo's kit, and on this fight we're going to have the three main abilities. We got Roar to the Crowd, which is the one that all of the bosses are going to share. We've talked about that one on other videos. And then we have Shielding Core, which is the Zeffo Tomb Guardians' unique passive ability. So let's jump through here. We'll break the kit down, and then we're going to go over to a fight. So Crushing Stomp is going to be the basic ability for Zeffo Tomb Guardians. It's going to deal special damage to the target enemy that it selects, and then it will also inflict speed down for 1 turn. Sweeping Beam is going to be the first special ability. You'll see this one happen a lot, and it's going to deal special damage to all enemies. It is an AoE ability. It will also dispel all buffs on your team. And then if Zeffo Tomb Guardians has 3 stacks of armor plating, it will gain 30 turn meter. So that's the first clue that we need to be doing something about those armor plating stacks. The second special ability, Power Surge, is going to deal special damage to a target enemy, 1 enemy. And if Zeffo Tomb Guardian has 3 stacks of armor plating, it will stun that enemy for 1 turn. Again, trying to manipulate that armor plating ability or buff is going to be very key to trying to prevent these additional things from happening whenever the Zeffo Tomb Guardians take a turn. And there are 3 of them, so it's going to be quite difficult to try to manage all that. So the passive ability that Zeffo Tomb Guardians have, it's called Shielding Core. And Shielding Core, at the start of the battle, Zeffo Tomb Guardians will gain 3 stacks of armor plating, like I mentioned, until the end of the battle. At the start of each of its turns, Zeffo Tomb Guardian will gain 2 stacks of that armor plating. They can have up to a maximum of 3 stacks until the end of the battle. And then whenever Zeffo Tomb Guardians is damaged while it has no stacks of armor plating, its next special ability deals 100% more damage, and that does stack. Armor plating is basically a buff where damage received will be reduced by 25% per stack, and then you'll lose 1 stack whenever damaged by an attack. There is a limit of once per attack, so you're not going to be able to remove all those stacks at once. You know, the key is to manage the armor plating so that for the 2 Tomb Guardians that you're not going after, you want to have their armor plating basically at 1, ideally, if you can get it there. 1 or 2 is kind of where it has to be. If they get to 3, they're going to be able to do all these additional things to your team. And then if it gets down to 0, they're going to be able to do additional things to your team. So when you're trying to fight tiers 1 through 7, it doesn't really, like, I think the main strategy there is to just try to burn 1 down at a time. Focus on 1, forget about the others, except for trying to keep their armor plating at 1 or 2 stacks. But then once you get to the final tier, tier 8, it is going to be a little bit different because then it's kind of overtime. So once you kill one of them, it comes back. It's very difficult to deal with that armor plating. It's going to take heavily invested champions. You're going to have to basically max them out if you really want to stand a chance against the Zeffo Tomb Guardians in tier 8. Very difficult to manage that. You definitely want to make sure that you have characters in your group that can do the AoEs, because those AoEs actually are fairly important to trying to maximize your scores. All right, so let's jump in and do a fight. Now you do have some choices to make here, and the jury's kind of out for me on whether Asajj or Barriss makes the most sense to use here. I think there's an argument to be made that you could pull Yoda and Chewie out to throw Barriss in, since Barriss can heal over Yoda and Chewie, because Barriss also has that AoE ability. But probably some more testing to be done here on who the most optimal champions are to be bringing. Let me know, as always with these videos, in the comments below who you're bringing. If you've already kind of solved this, I'm sure there are probably a few people out there, including some content creators, who've already kind of figured it out for themselves. But would love to see that and provide that information to my community if you have it. We're going to try this with, we want to have Stormtrooper Luke, because he can call mass assist and burn one of those Zeffo Tomb Guardians down. So we need him. We definitely need Maul, and we're definitely going to need IG-90 as the leader. So that leaves just, again, 2 slots here. I think for right now, I'm going to throw Asajj out and put Barriss in, and we'll kind of see where we go from here. If I'm not able to clear out all of tier 7, we'll definitely make some changes to the lineup. So immediately before we've even taken a turn, you can see that the armor plating, we've got, we're down to 1 over here on the left. We've got 2 in the middle, and then 3 over on the right-hand side. So, it's not going to matter too much if you take a little bit of damage from this one over on the right. But if you look, they all have the same abilities. One doesn't do more than the other, even though this one looks like it's kind of the leader. So I think the best decision here will be just to go ahead and call mass assist on the one on the right hand side. So we're going to do that. We're going to go ahead and put our breach on this champion as well, and we'll just keep trying to burn down. So far we haven't lost. We don't want this stack to go away, so we're not going to use the AoE. We've got 2 on this one, so we'll just use our basic ability here. And let's see, I think we can probably, we don't want to do the middle ability here. That's an AoE. Again, that's going to take this stack away, and they'll be a little bit more powerful. So we're just going to go basic ability on this one, and completely deleted. That's not good. All right, so we'll keep pushing forward here. We can't give, I would typically give my turn to Maul, but I can't do that because he's stunned. So we'll give our turn to Barriss, and we're going to, we don't need to heal. We'll just do another basic ability here. Okay, so the big issue there, and the reason why I think this person got deleted, is because we had this one over here on the right hand side down to no stacks of the armor plating. I think we're going to, this one has speed down, so we can probably just focus the middle one. We'll do that, and we do need to get a stack of that up. We've already gotten the fracture out. We won't be able to use the fracture again. I think it will make the most sense to, we don't want to use the AoE, because if we do, it's going to take away this one's armor plating as well, and we don't need both of them having their armor plating gone. We're going to just use our biggest attack possible on the middle person here, and hope that doesn't screw us over. We might as well, that I would say, I guess it doesn't really matter. We've kind of chosen our target that we want to go after here, but I do want to be careful about, turn meter, and like if this one gains some stacks, it could be an issue to deal with this one over here. But we do have some other AoE abilities to deal with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and put marked here, do our AoE so that we get that down to 2. And he did get up to 2, so that's actually good. Keep trying to push this one down. I think here we can siphon critical, and it'll do AoE, so we get that one down to 2. All right, and now we're just left with Maul. This is typically what happens in this situation. We're going to do our AoE, keep pushing, trying to, if we could get it down to a 1v1, it might be a little bit easier. But this is definitely the closest I've gotten so far. AoE again. It's definitely getting tough to take this one out here. We need to get that second ability back up again, and that might give it to us, but we might actually die here. Okay, gosh, just really difficult to take this one out. We're probably gonna have to reset here. Finally got the second one down, and that gets us to 69%. Pretty happy with the score, but I really feel like we should be able to get to tier 8 here, and it's not looking promising right now. Try to get our crit up again, and we'll use that middle ability. At this point, I don't know. Maybe the fight will go long and we'll be able to win it here, but it's pretty tough. You know, I mean, this is not an easy encounter. I've heard several people who have been kind of crashing out because they're struggling with being able to do the damage they need to get down to tier 8, but it's definitely doable up to tier 5 or so with a non-spender account, probably even higher than that. You know, that's another thing. You can let me know in the comments, like how far you've been able to get if you're a non-spender, light spender, heavy spender. Definitely would like to hear more about that. Nice thing about Spider Maul is he can just tank massive amounts of damage, like most of the other characters would have. All the other characters have already died, obviously, here. But he's somehow able to hang on even with the massive amounts of damage that's happening right now. Like I said, I don't think we're going to be able to get to the end here, but we're just chugging along. He's not doing hardly any damage, so we could probably I'm almost tempted just to kind of reset things and see if we can try again. So I stuck the fight on auto, and interestingly, I've noticed that a lot of the damage dealing abilities are doing very, very small amounts of damage from both sides, actually doing like 1 damage each on a lot of these attacks. But every now and then Maul is actually doing a lot more, like he's doing a decent amount of damage. So it's like it's continuing to send my percentages up. I don't know how much longer that will happen. I think at some point it's going to be just diminutive. It's just going to be like a handful of, I think we actually may have already hit that point. So let it run a little bit longer and see what will happen, and then we'll come back. All right, so we've made it to like 87% now, and it's been going way too long. So I'm going to close this one out. We'll forfeit it, and we'll still get credit for the record that we got here. And I am going to try again with, we're going to take out Yoda and Chewie and throw Asajj in and see how that goes. So I'm actually going to AoE here with Maul, and I think that'll set up some better damage from him in just a second, but it also gets us down to 1 armor plating on each of these 2 on the sides, and then we've got 2 here in the middle. We'll go ahead, and I'm actually going to heal up, try to slow play this just a little bit, and we're going to give Maul his second turn, and I'm going to go ahead and throw that fracture stack on. You know, one thing I'm curious about, and I'll probably test this off camera, but is maybe like not putting the fracture on the first one that you kill, saving that for the second one that you take down, or even the last one, trying to take down the first 2 and then going with the fracture on the last one might actually give you a better chance of winning. So, you know, that's probably another thing that we'll try. We're going to put the Disciple on our Maul. We need him to take as much damage as possible. We are going to open ourselves up to, you know, additional attack there, which is fine. We'll do our mass assist now, and I'm going to save the more damage dealing ability there. We'll just go with, we've got, this one has vulnerable, so I think we'll start with them. We can do an AoE here. That gets us down to 1 armor plating over on this guy, and just going to try to do as much damage as we can. We do need to heal up if we can. I think we should be able to do that here, and then just start putting as much damage as we can onto this one. And we're back down to just Maul again. I'll probably try to play this one out as far as I can get it, just in the background while I'm doing other things. We're going to close the video out here. I do think, you know, despite the fact that I can't get to tier 8, I'm really happy with the results here. I mean, I haven't, you know, invested a ton into these characters. I have them at 5 stars. But I think it's enough for you to get the general idea of the strategy. You're just trying to manage those tiers of armor plating and just trying to, you know, whittle those champions down a little at a time. Let me know in the comments below how you've done with Zeffo Tomb Guardians. If you have any advice or if you notice any misplays on my part, probably a few of those. Otherwise, if you did like this video, hit the like button. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel and you'll get access to notifications for new videos that I put out on Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I do try to make a couple a week, and I hope to see you on the next video.